If the size is important to all of you, there's one thing I'd like you to know. It's that we live in a very large galaxy. The Milky Way, which houses billions of stars, is probably the largest in mass within the local group of galaxies and the second largest in diameter after the galaxy of Andromeda. Hello, guys. However, in the universe, there are much larger galaxies. Welcome to our channel. Today, we are going to talk about the largest galaxy in the universe. So, are you interested? So, it's time to start our video. Measuring galaxies. Let's start with the idea that measuring a galaxy is not that simple. First, we need to define the parameters we are dealing with here. These parameters can include things like mass, length, width, height, and diameter. The definition of linear dimensions refers, for example, to the distance between two endpoints in the case of length. However, even for objects in space, simple measurements such as diameter are not so clear. First, most galaxies have irregular shapes. In addition, it is very difficult to determine where exactly the edges of a galaxy are. This is similar to the difficulty of measuring the diameter of a flashlight, where the end of the light spreads. Therefore, scientists usually adopt the diameter of the isophotal line, which is a line connected in places with constant brightness, as a reference. The simplest way to measure linear dimensions is using telescopes to measure the apparent diameter. With the apparent diameter and the distance to the target galaxy, we can determine the length and width of the galaxy. These parameters are frequently expressed in family units for fans of science fiction and soap operas, such as light years and parsecs. There are other ways to measure the size of the target. For example, the deviation to red or the rotation speed of the stars can be used. By combining these methods, we can determine the size and mass of distant objects in space. Curiously, measuring our own Milky Way is not such a simple task. This is because we are inside the galaxy and we cannot observe it from the outside. However, scientists managed to do it. They determined that the diameter of the Milky Way is approximately 87,000 light-years, that is, 26 kiloparsecs. In addition, the mass of the Milky Way is equivalent to about 1,500,000,000,000 times the mass of the Sun. Well, now that we have a reference, we can move on to the discussion of larger galaxies in practice. ESO 30617. Galaxies that exceed 1,000,000 light-years in length are extremely rare, with only a dozen of them having been discovered so far. One of them is located in the constellation Columba and is known as ESO 30617. The image of this galaxy was captured by the Hubble Space Telescope. Astronomers believe that this galaxy is isolated in its region. Although it appears in the image that the galaxy is surrounded by other bright galaxies, these other galaxies are relatively close to Earth, while ESO 30617 is much further away. It is 1,070,000 light-years long and 760,000 light-years wide, being 500 million light-years away from Earth. Scientists are interested in the fact that this galaxy appears to be in a state of isolation in space. It is believed that ESO 30617 has grown so much that it has ended up greedily swallowing neighboring galaxies. But there may be traces of dwarf galaxies that were partially consumed by this voracious cosmic devourer that are still close. The question is, will astronomers be able to observe these remains and capture the remains of the cosmic banquet? ESO 38376. This galaxy is the largest, or at least one of the largest galaxies ever discovered by astronomers. This gigantic galaxy is 1,564,000 light-years long and 882,000 light-years wide. It is an elongated elliptical galaxy, 20 times longer and 10 times wider than the Milky Way in comparison. ESO 38376 is located at a distance of 654 million light-years in the direction of the constellation of Centauri. This galaxy is considered one of the jewels of the Azabel 35701 galaxy cluster and is the sixth brightest galaxy in X-ray in the band. Since its discovery in 1974, this galaxy has been studied repeatedly, and in the 1990s it was counted among the 1314 similar celestial objects. By observing these celestial objects, the existence of the great attractor that attracts the Milky Way and other galaxies has been proven. The mass of ESO 38376 is 230 trillion times the mass of the Sun. That's about 200 times the mass of the Milky Way. But that's not all. This galaxy has a spherical shell called halo, which is filled with gas, dark matter, and stars connected to the galaxy by gravity. According to various estimates, the halo of ESO 38376 extends for 2 million light-years. This fits perfectly between the Milky Way and the Andromeda galaxy, completely filling the space between the two largest galaxies in our local universe where we live. IC 1101. IC 1101 is a giant galaxy discovered by British scientist William Herschel on June 19, 1790. The fact that IC 1101 was visible even with Herschel's incomplete telescope indicates that it is truly a huge galaxy. The galaxy is located in the Azabel 2029 galaxy cluster, 115 billion light-years away from Earth, towards the Virgin constellation. This is an always busy area where there is always something happening in outer space, making it a very active region. It is believed that IC 1101 has existed since the early days of the formation of this galaxy cluster. Since its birth, the galaxy has interacted and merged with neighboring galaxies on more than 10 occasions, growing to its current size. The isophotal diameter of the supergiant galaxy IC 1101 is estimated at around 400,000 to 550,000 light-years. This is 5 to 6 times larger than the Milky Way. However, this is not the absolute limit, as there are even larger galaxies in the universe. So why is IC 1101 being mentioned in this ranking? First, the galaxy was considered the largest galaxy in the universe on the internet until 2022. However, this was not entirely fair. This happened because the size of its halo and the isophotal diameter of other galaxies were being compared. Various calculations suggest that the halo of IC 1101 extends for 4 to 6 million light-years. In addition, the inclination of about 20 degrees in relation to the plane of the central galaxy provides a reason to observe anomalies in the core. In reality, IC 1101 is not the largest galaxy and is not even among the 50 largest in diameter. However, this galaxy houses the largest black hole ever observed and the most massive galaxy core. In addition, anomalies in the halo suggest the presence of something with a large mass, possibly the remains of absorbed galaxies. In other words, IC 1101 is like a magnet that attracts curious astronomers. Alcyoneus. In 2022, the research team led by Martin Oe of the Leiden Observatory published an article on the radio galaxy Alcyoneus, located on the constellation of Ursa Major. Alcyoneus is a radio galaxy located at a distance of 3.5 billion light-years from Earth. At first glance, it seems to be a common galaxy. The mass of this galaxy is 24 billion times the mass of the Sun, a fraction of the Milky Way. Alcyoneus is 242,000 light-years long, not being particularly large. Although its diameter is 3 times larger than that of the Milky Way, larger galaxies have already been observed. In addition, its width of 155,000 light-years is also not considered gigantic. So why is it on this list? And why did you get that name? Alcyoneus is a character from Greek mythology, son of the goddess Gaia, Mother Earth. According to mythology, a being born from Gaia should not be small. Alcyoneus was a giant, and this galaxy, named after him, is also a giant in its own right. This is the largest galaxy ever observed in the history of astronomy. At least in terms of the width of its radio lobe, this can be affirmed. Alcyoneus has 2 radio lobes, The tip-to-tip distance of these lobes is 16 million light-years, which is 160 times greater than that of the Milky Way. These radio lobes are generated by the jets of a gigantic black hole in the center of the galaxy. The reason why these giant wings extend so much in space has not yet been discovered. However, scientists are studying this issue, so eventually there will be a clearer understanding. So, what we're thinking right now is what we want to show you all in the next video. Yes, today's video is coming to an end. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you liked this content, please leave a comment along with your like. Now it's time for us to say goodbye for a short period here on the Wikivedia Plus channel, and see you soon here on our channel. A big hug, and see you next time.